Muchas gracias por los que nos están escuchando en internet. Thank you for everyone that is listening on internet. Today we're going to have Tertulia Divina en español y en inglés. Se llama Spanglish. So here we go. Thank you, Lord. The idea is that it's a series that we are trying to teach about the foundations. And the foundation is a series of teaching about what is critical for the gospel. One of the things that I put on the title today is Always Ready. Where is this coming from? This coming from this verse, 1 Peter 3:15. And we're going to be using in English the New King James Version, because it's normally used during these debates in a group that we support. It's called Answers in Genesis. And you can get the reference in answersingenesis.com. But the verse from the Bible is this: always be ready. And that's the title of the message today. Always be ready. To give a defense to everyone who asks you a reason for the hope that is in you with meekness and fear. So Peter, that was right now an apostle for many years, is telling to the church, hey, you need to be ready for what? For what? What is the reason why, as Christians, we need to be ready?
To give a defense.
To give a defense. That's it. So, what is defense? Bienvenida, Dios me la bendiga.
Gracias.
Valentina. Today we're going to do something special just for people that are coming out. We're going to do Tertulia Divina in Spanglish. So, and we are talking today about to be ready. Okay? This always be ready. And it's a message from Peter to the Christians, to early Christians, almost 2,000 years ago. And again, when you say ready for what? So we're going to be ready to give a defense to everyone who asks you a reason for the hope. So we need to have a reason for our hope. And the word that is in Greek that is used to talk about defense is talk apologia. And it's a plea, it's answer. So that's the reason why in this group that we support, Answers in Genesis, they put that title. It's like we're gonna give defense, we're gonna give answers, okay, to people who ask. You check the previous verse, is be ready to what? Give it defense. Okay? So and that's the idea today. We're gonna go deep into how to give a defense in the current world about some issues, but the principles behind that. And you have questions, as always, you're welcome. Thank you, Lord. This comes from a series from Answers in Genesis that is called The Foundations, and this is always ready. Apologia, again, comes from this word in Greek, answer. Okay. So we're trying to give answers, and let's see if we can go, depending how everything flows, we're gonna go part one, part two, or if everything is okay, we can continue and complete everything today. Okay? So the whole thing is now Paul talking to the Romans is a verse that normally we use a lot, the Christians. And what the verse is putting emphasis for, since the creation of the world, His what?
Invisible attributes.
Are clearly what?
Sí.
Clearly seen. So, and He's talking His is who?
God.
God. So He said, hey, the attribute invisible from God. A lot of people, I don't see God. Okay, He's telling the things that are invisible from God are clearly seen. And you can understand by the things that are
Made.
So He's telling you the faith is by seeing the things that God did. When you go and see the birds in some of the programs that have different colors, like the toucan, the toucan, it's coming a picture to your mind that have different colors that look like they were paint. Is one invisible attribute of God that is visible. And it's visible for the whole humanity. Male, female, adult, children. So it's so powerful that that He said that His eternal power and Godhead, so they are without excuse. So the important thing is to let you know that a tool that for us to be ready is to have something, understand something from the nature that was created by God around us. Because that creation is showing the invisible things of God and is making the humanity without excuse. And what about the people that don't believe in God? No excuse. And what about the people that is indifferent? I don't know if it's God, if not God.
Without excuse.
Without excuse. And what about the people that, I believe all religions are the same?
No excuse.
Without excuse. Yeah? So, even for the Christians that are not aware, is no excuse. Because what He did is He put us in a planet that you can see, clearly seen, understood by the things that are made. Even every sunrise is impressive for me. Every time that I have time, I go to see the sunrise in the beach, if I'm in Florida, or in some of the lakes here in Greensboro, North Carolina. You can see rising up, and it's like, wow, the colors, incredible, okay? So we're gonna put emphasis on this because you have in your hands tools to be a witness and to be ready to present defense. And that is what it's called apologia, or apologetics come from the same word. You need to be prepared to present defense. Calm. No hurry. With meekness. So humble. But the whole thing is, use the tools that you see. The observation that you are making around that. So we're going to put some emphasis on that for me to be aware of all those tools that God put around us. Okay. Also, you are my assistant in my accent alert. So if you see some major disasters, please feel free to tell me.
No, because we have to interrupt continuously.
You can do it. It's part of this is like training session. I'm trying to see if during the summer we can give this series in English, and I'm testing myself to do it.
That's not publishing?
Huh?
That's not for publishing?
Could be, depending on the magnitude of the errors. So if you think it's really bad, then I use it only for practice.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it's libre. Tú me hiciste libre, Señor. Gracias, Señor. Then Paul continues in Romans telling how we receive faith. You can answer. How do you receive the faith?
By hearing the word.
And hearing the word of God.
Wow! Said, okay, you have faith by nature, and then you have faith by hearing or listening or studying the Word of God that is the Bible. You know? And he said, you're going to receive faith. How? We don't know how God is doing that. But the important thing is to get that tool, because that is not only true for us that believe, it's also true for the people that is not believing. And that's the surprise. Okay? The surprise is that even for the people that are not believing, you have verses from the Bible that you can share with them. The Word of God will work on them. That's the thing that we're going to see. This is one of the verses. Again, so in green I put, okay, the faith comes by hearing, again, the Word of God. And that I was not clear on that before I did this study. I was not clear that was applicable to everyone. And now what I find is applicable. Basically, you can see the world. This is the same planet, the same universe, and you can see the world in two ways. Those are the two major ways, and the others are variations. Inside of here, you can have different variations, but one is the man decides what is truth. We are observing and living in the same planet. But the other thing is that the Word of God is truth, and through the Bible, then we do have revelation about things in this world. Okay? So, if we go, we have the same facts, we have the same daily life, the same struggles, positive or negative. I mean, if you are, for example, you like basketball, and in the NBA in the United States, you like the Warriors, then you are happy because last year they won the championship, okay? But if you are, like me, from Miami, and you like the Heat, they have been losing several years, and then you could be sad, you know? It's one way or the other. But the whole thing is like, here in the world, now, when we are born, we are not coming with instruction manual. We're coming with some instincts, and what happened is God revealed instructions how to see the world through the Bible. So many things that we decide to do depends on the point of view. I mean, the glasses, in this case, is illustration for the point of view. What point of view are you using? Are you doing interpretation about the word with different opinions from the men that they said that is the truth? Or you are going first through the Bible and the God's word and use that as a first step to do interpretation? The people that was here and we study in Spanish how to listen to the voice of God, cómo escuchar la voz de Dios, we found that first you need to have a willing heart, seeking God. Second, you need to give thanks for creation, things that you see.
Be grateful.
Be grateful. Okay. Third, you need to use the Bible to decide what is good and what is bad before you go to the next step. Fourth, you need now to wait for the Holy Spirit to give you peace. And number 5, I said, you also wait and pray, and if necessary you fast until God give you the timing, peace and timing. And then you take a decision. Sometimes you do it in instant, in 1 minute, sometimes you do it in 1 year, or whatever, depending on the magnitude of the decision, until you have all these 5 things aligned. So here, we're talking about that is many of the debates that we see in our society today are coming from here, from how do you see the world based on different opinions. And it's different when you see the world through the Bible. And we're gonna go through several things now to see that. Okay? So this is one of the books that has been used in high school and colleges. It's called Cosmos by Carl Sagan. Now he died some years ago, but he was very famous astronomer. And there, one thing that for all the students, they say, hey, he said, the cosmos is all what is over, or is or ever was, or ever will be. Okay? So what he's saying there, that is not God, that everything is natural. And that is the type of teachings that they are giving to our children in the public schools and many private universities.
Public.
Public and private. One of the things that they are teaching us truth also is what they call the Big Bang. And in the Big Bang, they said, let me just to be clear here to get the numbers. So the Big Bang, depending on the book, is a different number that I like to use. They said, oh, the Big Bang happened 15 billion years ago. That's what they are teaching. You know, it was a big explosion. I mean, you can ask, hey, who was there? How do they know that? Mm-hmm. They're not telling that is a pure speculation. They're teaching that as a truth to the children and to the students. Okay? And they go say, oh, after that, 10 billion years ago was when the stars were formed. How do they know that? No, they are teaching that. And 5 billion years ago, the sun was formed in the Milky Way that is our galaxy.
But what evidence do they use for that?
They don't have evidence. It's pure speculation.
Because they can't say like they made some test about the carbon, whatever they call, you know.
Yeah, what happened is, no, that's not the case. It's a speculation. It's based on, in order to get this, what we have right now, no, it was a lot of years. But what evidence do you have? You don't have evidence. But they are teaching that, and they are not allowing another point of view, like the point of view of the Bible, to be taught at the same time. Okay, the Christian point of view, the creationist point of view is that you should teach in high school both things. And as theories, because nobody was there. And then let to everyone decide. You have your own will and your own mind. Decide which one makes more sense. But the point is that it's happening now. Has been happening for almost 150 years. But every year increase because a lot of people that are teaching this are empowered in these in nations around the world, and now they are preaching, they are teaching everyone, and everyone that it doesn't conform to their teaching, they are rejected, or they don't have promotions.
Not only that, I remember when I was in beginnings college that you have to go through the general classes, that if you don't answer what they want to read, then you don't pass the test. So I used to answer as your theory, the answer is supposed to be this, but not that I find that's correct.
That's wonderful. I think so that's the right thing to do. If you're in college, in university, in high school, and you have the biology class, and sometimes astronomy, they go through this, then you gotta say, hey, by your book or your teachings, this way is the answer. But my belief could be another one. And that's fair, because we need to defend in our life truth. And the truth is that that is not truth. Okay? So the truth goes beyond what they are teaching you. When you feel that something is not right, you need to come and say, okay, this is not what I observe or what I believe, therefore I'm going to answer according with your teachings, but I don't agree with that. Amen. So the whole thing is they go back and say, hey, the earth, this is from the same book, okay? The earth was formed 4.5 billion years ago. Okay? And then they said, oh, and the water inside the wall, here, you know, you have water in the outside, was cool 3.8 billion ago. And from there, you know, eventually life came. This is a representation of the first, what they call phylogenetic tree. The first type of life was the speculation. Nobody was there. This is pure speculation. Oh, this was some kind of simple life. But how you go from fire to a type of life, you know, and that is not making sense, but that's what they are teaching. Okay, so you need to be aware of our reality, but remember, we are coming with hope because God made so obvious that it's a design that He took the whole humanity without excuse. So remember, you have tools. Why are they? It's a group of people that took over the educational public system, in particular, globally, and now they're teaching lies to our kids, and not only our kids. The implications are in our daily lives. Okay, we're gonna discuss some of the issues, but the whole thing here is be aware, but don't be afraid. Be ready. Always ready. Okay, you can use and again the flowers. You can use the flowers. Right now we are in April 14, 2019, and it's a tournament in golf. Do you know what tournament? How the tournament is called?
The Masters.
The Masters. Do you know where is that tournament?
Where?
Where?
Georgia.
Georgia. Julia knows a lot about that. Augusta, Georgia.
Yes, it's the only thing that we can see on TV now.
Oh. And what do you see that is, Julia, that surprised you?
Surprised me?
No,
Impressed
wonder
me?
you.
Oh, the flowers are beautiful, and the birds are always like singing.
You see? So it's only the flower, the color of the flower are so powerful that is, even during the golf tournament, are impacting. It's a sense of wonder. Wow. God did these signs, and even today, and then the singing of the birds also is like beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Lord. Then the point of view of, we're going to go back and forth over several issues, but this is the representation of what they are teaching in the evolution, what they call the evolution. So the side that is coming from the humanity mindset is that something happened. And then something died over the years, and then what happened is, this from this one to the frog, from here to a whale, to a horse, and then the men, after the apes came here. And what they have, these three, why they came with this what is called tree, phylogenetic tree. How they came with that?
I think that they are trying to imitate the tree of life.
It could be, the whole thing they try to do by external appearances. Okay, when they try, something happened. Say, what? Nothing that is organized happened by chance. I mean, you see the different cars looks similar, these years Chevrolet, let's put something American here, okay? You see the last year and looks similar, they changed something. But when you see behind the scenes, you see there was a lot of engineers, a lot of planning, a lot of people doing purchasing and prototypes, and finally they decide, this is the model. So even that looked like similar, in reality was a lot of people making that happen. So they are saying, no, they came by chance. But the failure here is not only this, that is pure speculation, is that they're not explaining, because most of these species, at least the animal species, have male and female. And you need both to be at the same time in order to have a new creature, a reproduction. And that is never explained by evolution. Because the obvious thing, the natural thing, is that, somebody created that. So what is coming from the evolution point of view is 2 points of view. The man's point of view is basically based on evolution, that everything was by chance.
So you jump from the Big Bang to evolution, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so you go to the Big Bang. I mean, again, I was giving a simple explanation of what they said the Big Bang. The Big Bang happened, and because of time, they went through stars, they went through to the sun, they went to Earth, but they are trying to explain the current observations, and it's pure speculation. Because the point that we're going to see is that we're observing today, and we are trying to speculate what happened in the origins in the past. And what we're going to do is be sure that we understand that we have the tools to understand the science, the knowledge of today, and see if it applies better with the Bible or applies better with the Big Bang that is part of the evolutionary mindset. Okay? That's the reason why I did a jump. I didn't go, so I'm doing, okay, this is the mindset. They said, because was a lot of suffering, was a lot of death, a lot of disease, a lot of death, and then have a new species. So they are coming, they came from something really small, from hydrogen. You have all these complex things. So you go today and do an experiment, and you are not finding that. It's impossible from gases then to do complex things that have life. We're going to see the perspective from the Bible, but right now the perspective from the humanity mindset that include the Big Bang, and then after the Big Bang, assuming that the Earth is stable, all different animals were dead, and now we have the mother man or woman. Okay. So the important thing is that we are observing the same facts today. you have power because you are observing like the El Cañón del Colorado, the Grand Canyon. Okay? And then you go and when you see the Grand Canyon in one of these books, they are teaching, based on the observations of the different layers, we have, all these are millions years. So 4,000 billion years is 4 billion, okay? And let's go a little bit in detail. I said, okay, before everything was formed, 4.6 billion years ago, okay? The earth forms, continental appeared. Who knows that? Speculation, but again, they are blocking every other point of view and trying to teach that. So my recommendation is always, if you are a Christian, teach them the point of view of the Bible and the evidence around that. That's part of the series, what we're doing in this series. And to your children, to your grandchildren, to your nephew.
The thing is that in the Bible, you can take the data and go back and analyze, in not only the Bible, but another history books tells about people that are mentioned in the Bible and tell you what year were they living, and then you go back and you can say, so that the earth is this old.
Yes.
So it's not like that you don't have a reference of how old is really sure, is the truth for them.
Exactly. So the whole thing is, what is your starting point? That's part of what we're gonna have. What is your starting point? And here is like this, they call geological time scales. Some of us, we don't need to memorize it. We need to have the idea to be able to do comparisons, okay, of what is the truth. What we're trying to tell is, this is the truth, and we can tell, and we don't know about this. We know about this. We know today about the birds and the color of the bird that show design. We know about our hands. 5 fingers, most of the humanity, and you have symmetry. Okay? That indicates somebody took care of our design. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, this is what they are teaching. Yeah? And when I went to school, I have to, go and learn the other evidence in order to show them, no, I disagree with you. I mean, I believe this is not what done at random. Look like we are designed on purpose. That's the whole thing. But this is one example, interview a guy that is atheist and right now is against everything, against
atheist.
God. Atheist?
Atheist.
You said?
Atheist.
Atheist. And he's really going against the gospel and everything biblical. And he said the problem with God, he said that the Christians are not talking truth, and God is like an imaginary friend. Okay? When they ask him, what are your thoughts about the despair some people feel when they ponder natural selection and random mutation? And these are the mechanisms that the evolution said that is happening. He said, the people that were doing the interview asked him, the idea of evolution and natural selection makes some people feel that everything is meaningless because it's at random. People individual life and life in general. And he answered, it's true. It's caused people to feel despair. Hey, that's tough. But it's the truth. The universe doesn't ask condolences or consolation. It doesn't ask a nice, warm feeling inside. It's true. And you live with that. So what he's telling is that you can be in despair because, there's no purpose in life. The emphasis that he's telling, yes.
But the thing is that I heard an interview that he made on radio, and somebody was asking him what was the title of that Charles Darwin book. And he remembered part of the title. I don't know if you heard the interview.
No.
He mentioned part of the title, so the interviewer asked him, but do you know the whole title of the book? Because that's your main source of information, the Darwin's book. And he tried to remember, and he didn't remember the title of the book. So in the interview, he's heard saying, oh God, that he forgot the title, but he, even in his, in deep inside him, he had to claim, oh God, he forgot the name of the
Okay.
title. So he even mentioned God, and he says that's
Nice.
a made, by man,
Yeah.
imaginary friend.
So what they are using the evolution to be teaching, and these are the consequences of the emotional consequences. You have no hope. You are meaningless. You are what? Can you read this?
Meaningless?
That's it. So the whole thing is like, that is what they are teaching our kids 5 days of the week since they are children. That's the reason why we need to take care now, give hope, because the evidence is there. Go and walk with them. Go to the beach and see the birds, see the creation, because God is giving hope, and these people are going and teaching them things that are untrue, and they don't even allow to teach the point of view of the Bible. Okay?
What's his name? Hawkins?
Is Richard Dawkins.
Oh.
Okay. But then the other point of view is based on the Holy Bible and the Bible, and everything starts with, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Okay. So when you see the point of view of the Bible, immediately you say, oh, this was created on purpose. This is nothing that it's a random. In the beginning, God created heavens and earth. Okay. And then you start to see things that some of them we review in Spanish, we saw in Spanish in the previous session, but I'm going to go quick on that with the verses. God made the firmament, the universe. Thing that we see was created by God. And then God created what?
The dry land.
Dry land, the earth. And then God created what?
Waters,
The water, they call
The seas.
the seas. See? And then God, what? Okay, I'll put emphasis here.
He separated the water from the dry.
Yeah, so we have how the water that we see right now came to appear. He said, oh, because God separated that from the dry land, okay? And he did what?
brought forth grass, the herbs,
Amen. And then he did what?
Light.
Light. And then he did what?
the stars,
And then he did what?
the birds,
Birds.
The birds. And then he did what?
the great
Sea
sea
creatures.
creatures,
And then he did what?
The beast.
We can see right now the elephants. I mean, in our time, we can see the
Dinosaurs.
no, life. We can see life. The las ballenas,
Whales.
the whales, the whale. So, according to his kind, and he did what?
make man,
The man, the male, in our image, And then he did what?
With the woman.
The woman, okay? And then he started to give you a structure for things that are in our society from the point of, should be in our society from the point of view of the Bible. So immediately it gives you a structure, oh, okay, this was created on purpose. This was not at random. Later we're going to observe some of the things, but right now, this is for marriage, okay? Because they should come one, okay? The man should leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, okay? And then, what else?
When they failed, he cursed the earth.
Yeah, so the earth is cursed because the humanity failed. And some of the things that was happening in thorns and thistles, okay? And then after that, he said, okay, because you disobey, what's gonna happen?
You will die.
You'll die. So we discussed it before, but it's spiritual dying and also natural dying. Because until this time that is recorded in the Bible, they didn't have nobody dying. And what happened is, the Lord scattered them over the face of the earth. Okay, that was after the
Babel Tower?
Del Diluvio, the flood. After the flood. So I need to practice my English, so thank you very much for helping me. But yeah, after the gospel, after the flood, then they have the Babel Tower that they are trying to be in one place, the whole humanity. And God said, no, I told you, go over the earth and multiply. So the Lord confused the language and scattered them. And that is the origin of the different civilizations. When you go through the history of the planet, you find up to 6 groups that are not possible that one came from the other. For example, the Chinese versus the Europeans. You see the language, you say, they are different signs. However, the Chinese versus the Japanese, it's a variation of the same sign language. Versus the Korean, is variation of the same language. However, you compare that with the Arabic, it's different. Huh? Arabic.
Esdrújula.
Arabic. Thank you very much. Continue. Don't be afraid because this is practice. Okay, so the only thing is you have this group, and the only place where you see the explanation is the Bible. Now we have the observation. We can go, and like that, we have Russian also. It's a different, another type of scripture. Yes, it's different. Okay, so, but why that happened? Say, okay, God confused their languages, so changed their mentality, and they came. Okay, how are we gonna communicate between ourselves? And they have to create their own languages at the time. And then, again, this is the same thing. Lord confused the languages. That's the reason. And what happened here? After they fail, God made what?
Tunics of skin and clothed them.
They said why the clothing came to the humans and not to the rest of the animals. You know, I commented about that in a previous series in Spanish. But the only thing is like God have to kill some animals in order to get skin to cover them. And after that, that's how the fashion shows were created. Until today, you can get different fashion, different ways, for ladies and for men. My theory is after this, that afternoon, Eve started to do modifications. I don't like this, I don't like that. So probably he said, okay, so that's my speculation. It's not pure biblical truth. Thank you, Lord. So when you see and try to put a summary, the point of view of the Bible to our history is, we call it the 7 C's of history. Okay? And the 7 C's of history is like, okay, creation was the first thing. Corruption happened after that. After that, we had the flood, catastrophe, confusion because of the languages. They have to go scatter over the earth. And then years later, thousands of years later, Christ came and he died on the cross. And after that, then we have consummation that didn't happen yet. We are here in the middle. We are between the cross, resurrection, and the consummation. Consummation is that what happened here in the creation, that the corruption, damage because of the man failing God, okay, is going to be again renewed. Restore is the best word. Restore with the new heavens and new what?
Earth.
Cielos nuevos y tierra nueva. Nuevos cielos, new heavens and new earth. Okay, so when we go in detail, I mean, we can see that now as a biblical timeline of history is details here. We can get that some people want, but it's like creation, corruption, catastrophe, confusion, Christ, cross, and resurrection, and consummation that is in the future. So we are here, and we go through the creation. We saw that corruption, what happened with Adam and Eve that disobeyed God. Then catastrophe, what happened in the flood that was raining during 40 days and 49, but the waters was over the whole earth. So it's a global flood that happened and took 1 year for the waters to calm down. To calm down. Okay. And because of that, when I noticed that people that was only a small sample inside of the ark that was built, but the rest was in the outside. So some of them were covered with mud, and now the mud that covered them are the current fossils. Okay? Even the petroleum that we are taking even today are coming from plants that were over this period over the whole earth. When the plants goes and decompose, and they go and create what is now oil, and over time, if you give more time, they can create methanol, gas. So you can use for even today, natural gas is coming from the earth because the whole earth was covered with plants and animals before the flood. So it's giving you a picture that even today you can do observations and see that it's true. Yeah. Then confusion came when the humanity tried to stay in one place and avoid another flood. What happened is God said, hey, you need to go. You are not gonna get another global flood. You in the future, you're gonna have a new earth, and the current earth is gonna go through fire. But the Bible is giving a revelation to us that minimum is gonna take 1,000 years. Okay? It's a minimum. So even the speculation now that, we have 10 years. In 10 years, everything is going to go bad. It's pure speculation. From the point of view of the Bible, they said that we're going to have seasons, and we're going to have time to do seed and do harvest. So from the point of view of God, the earth is going to continue stable to allow us to live, the humanity. However, we can have local disasters through flood, or through famine, through because the earth changed. The speculation on how it changed is a different topic, but the whole thing is different areas in the earth that could change. Then Christ came, that is almost 2,000 years ago, so, and gave the Gospels. In the Gospels, he came and giving us that he is the Cordero del Mundo, Cordero de Dios que quita el pecado del mundo. He is the
Lamb of God.
Lamb of God, takes the sin of the humanity. And he went to the cross. We are in Semana Santa. Is in
¿Cómo se llama? La Semana Mayor.
in the Good Friday.
Good Friday.
So this week,
Easter?
Easter. We are in Easter.
No, not Eastern. Easter.
Easter.
Eastern es del este.
Oh, we're in Easter. And then today we're gonna talk about prior to this, and next week we will celebrate Good Friday because he died for us, and the resurrection 3 days later. Okay, so we went through that, and now the thing that we're expecting is the consummation. When he's going to come to the earth, and it's a series of processes revealed by the Bible, but the whole thing is that to the end we're going to have, again, restoration of the earth, new earth. Glory to God.
Thank you to the teacher.
And new heaven. This is adventure in teaching. So these are the 7 C's. You can get it and say, this is the point of view of the Bible, and use it. Why? Why were you gonna use that? Okay. Because we try to tell the world, okay, that's the reason for God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son. Okay, whoever believes in Him should not perish, but will have what?
Everlasting life.
Everlasting. So that's the purpose for the whole humanity. And it's revealed in part of that gospel from Christ. And these are the words from Christ, directly from the New King James version of the Bible. But we go today, and we say, hey, what happened today? Hey, today if you go to several places, you're going to see the remains, the bones, the fossils of something that happened in the earth. These are dinosaurs. Dinosaurs, oh, they changed the name. No, dinosaurs. That around 1850, they found in different places of the earth, and is the name for big lizards, lagartos grandes. Okay, so dinosaurs is like, this is so big, why don't see that today? But we are finding these bones. So one of the explanations is because they were killed in a catastrophe. In our case, from the Christian point of view, from the biblical point of view, is the flood. But the same people the same people that could do this interpretation today and believe in evolution, and we're gonna see what they say. They said, oh no, instead of coming through the flood, they came through millions and millions of years. So it's interpretation, but the facts are the same. Nobody's changing the bones. The bones are there. Okay, it's just the interpretation of where they came from.
How big is the biggest that was found of the dinosaurs?
Oh man, this is like 50 feet. Yeah, so
Tall or long?
Long. Tall, I think so, is around 30. I can give you more details next week. You know, let me put it, no, the dimensions. It's good. Let me put that,
50 is a lot. It's like 10 times. Get this at Johnson's in front of you.
yeah. So in meters, it's like almost 3.24 feet by meter, so it's like 20 meters around that. But we are observing the bonds in different parts of the earth. Now that we have ultrasonic machines, you can see under the earth and you can notice places in the earth where it's a lot of bonds together. Okay? Then you can see like the wonders of the creation. This is a
Kangaroo.
kangaroo, and here we see her, cangurito. This is
Kangaroo. Kangaruito.
Kangaroo, yeah. So, in one example of, hey, we are observing the same creation. Even today, you go, this is the
Grand Canyon.
Grand Canyon, and we are observing the same thing. The interpretation of how this was made, that's the difference. You know? So, we are observing the same Earth. You know, here is Australia. In this picture,
Australia.
Australia. The kangaroo is around here. Nobody's.
And my niece.
So, and even today we go details after we uncover some of the fossils, and these are uncovered from the earth. You know, they are the same for.
What is that?
Is a fossil that already has been cleaned out of the earth.
From a dinosaur?
Is a dinosaur, yes.
Oh. It looks like a crocodile.
Yeah, it could be. You know, it could be, but it's not the case. Even today, we go to the cemetery, we see people that are dead. Hey, we're seeing this observation. People live, people died.
Mm-hmm.
What is going to happen, or why that happened, is a different thing. What happened after that is interpretation. You know, but we see the same thing. So, in reality, the point here is that when we go to the facts, evolution facts versus creation facts, initially some people think that we are talking about different facts. But in reality, we are talking about the same facts. You know? It's just the interpretation. You know? It's the same facts around us because we are in the present. Nobody was in the past. Nobody was in the past for the creation that is alive. Nobody was in the past for the possible evolution that is alive. So that what we are always, the point of be ready is be aware that you can use your current observation. If you like the flowers, if you like the bird, if you like your finger, you say, hey, here is design. To then do an interpretation of what you see. So again, we go back to two interpretations. The man decided truth, and God's word is truth. We go and it's again what? The glasses that we're going to use to do interpretation. If you use what evolution that is now preached and teach in the schools and universities, then you have a point of view of the world. But you use the word of God, it's another point of view. It's a design purpose. Here, for example, is the DNA. DNA is very complicated. It's like a language that was detected less than 100 years ago, 1950, under big microscope. They detected that inside our cell, that is thousands of times smaller than a hair from us. I mean, you have like 9 feet of information about you about you? You? So what happened is that, what? Was that at random? When you write a book, you believe that this is a,
Okay, but it's, you said, how much information? About 9 feet?
9 feet of information?
Or what it means 9 feet? Like if you write the information,
Yes.
what font, what size?
Oh, yes, good. Let,
Ah.
let me give you, you know, that's the beautiful thing of, okay, let me put it here, this for next DNA. 9, size, font, etc. I'm gonna give you the details. The important thing here is that when this is what we are detecting now, is in every human being and every creature, like life creature. And when you go there, like to the dogs or canine, canine, okay. So you see, like it's a kind. We discussed it before, but it's a time of variation, but they have the same type of DNA. That is a definition of their kind. Okay? And in Genesis, they said, hey, it's a kind. You know? That is like a family of, canine is a family, and then here you can get different races inside of that family. And in some cases, family or kind is also translated as species. It's a major species, but you have different races. But now, when you go there, what is the most plausible explanation? Is it is a design, or that is a random? And when you see that, you say no. It's the more plausible. It's a language that is in every cell of your body and the body of that. God gave you your characteristics. He said, okay, you know, you are special, and you're gonna have that information in every part of your body. And the same thing with the dogs. You know? So when you go there, what you are finding is also that because it's one kind, the human race are done one single kind. It's the human race. And now that we know about the DNA, and the DNA allows you to have chromosomes, so the humans has 46 chromosomes, 23 from the male, 23 from the female. So what point of view is giving you the feeling that makes more sense? Something that was at random, so complex, or something that was designed on purpose? And that need to be answered for everyone. If you have the choice to choose what should be done next, what is the right interpretation? So we can add there the observations about the mountains and the rivers and the canyons, and also the fossils. So when you go to the next scene today, you said, okay, if I'd like to know about the past, what I am finding. So you are finding bones for the fossils.
From the fossils.
You're finding bones, fossilized bones. And you could have two paleontologists that are the people that go and investigate that kind of discoveries. And both of them could have different point of view of the interpretation, but the bones are the same.
Is that a real one?
This is based on real one. This is interpretation of this guy that is a creationist, paleontological creationist, and this is him with his team doing actual discoveries. And this guy here is another one that is not a creationist, he's an evolutionist, but both are working in the discovering of the bones.
Information.
The information. And here is one example. And this is here, he said, hey, I believe this was done by millions of Jews. And from his point of view was that after they died, many years ago, millions of years ago, they went to the mud, and the mud covered them. This is mud, it's an illustration. And then over the years, over the millions of years, they went to be a fossils, petrified fossil. And in the other hand, you have this guy here, said, hey, I'm looking at the same bones, but my point of view is that they died. I mean, they were living, they died, and a flood came, using the biblical point of view, that covered them. And he said, some of them still have food inside that match that instantaneous death that happened. He said, that happened, he was covered in mud, that if you are not covered in mud, the normal thing currently is you are dust. You're gonna be dust because the animals are gonna come and gonna eat your body. Yeah? And even the bones deteriorating goes to be dust. But then he said, okay, then over the years now we are discovering, and he said, in this area, this actual area here, that look like they have water over that, I mean, a lot of water, and this was covered with mud. And in this area, they are finding many of these animals by bunches. It's like one over the other, something happened, and in one case, they have even somebody that have egg, close by. I mean, that means that was in the process of give birth to one of the animals. And that we didn't know that before, but that matched the point of view of this other guy, that both of them, again, are looking at the same information, but the conclusion is different. Okay? So sometimes we have a debate between science and Bible, and should not be the case. Science is the knowledge. It's knowledge. Okay? The idea is you like to know the truth. You have to have knowledge about the truth. And if you do knowledge is a system covering general truth or the operation of general laws. It is obtained and tested through scientific method. The whole thing is we're gonna find that sometimes in the general talking, they are mixing two techniques. It's a technique for the thing that we can reproduce now, okay? And for example, I can say, hey, if I press this bottle, what is gonna come out? Let's see. Yes. Can I do it again? Yes, okay. I said that I'm gonna press this bottle here, what is gonna come out? Okay, this is a scientific method for things that we can repeat now. But when we go back to history, then the scientific method doesn't apply. Why? Because we cannot reproduce the past. In the movies, we can do it. So, somebody remember that, some of the movies that where we can go to the past? Back to the Future is one of them.
Yeah,
It's plenty of movies that you can go to the past, but in reality we cannot do it. So the only thing here is the question is how does everyone know the truth? Okay, and the whole thing is depending on what we are doing the testing is a different technique. So the question is, was anybody there to observe what happened? And what that is called observational science. What I did with the water, we can observe and repeat. But then is what we're trying to do about the origins is about the historical science. What are the techniques used to see the truth about the historical science? And are different techniques. In the observational science, we have that we observe something and experiment to draw conclusions. But we do experiment, we do observations, what I did with it, from there they come the medicines, they try to do different experiments. Oh, they're gonna improve your your diabetes or your heart condition, etc. Also from there come the technology. This is space shuttle when was in service, now is another space shuttle that is not tripulated. In 2019, that is the one that is used by the United States. And then is the technique used for the historical science. For the historical science, when we consider the things in the past, then we need to check different way. We cannot check the same way. Why? Because we don't have access to the past. In the present, I can repeat the experiment. Oh, the water is gonna come out from here. Yeah, but from the past, I cannot reproduce the past. So what we're gonna do, we look for circumstantial evidence. That's what they do. It's like a forensic file for the people that love those programs. We have some person here that love forensic files. So, and basically you look for evidence of past events based on what we see in the present. You are trying to do a detective work. What happened based on what I saw? So we can make intelligent guesses about in the present about past events, okay? Based on what we see. And for example, we one thing that is found in many places are different shells that are fossils. And then we can say, based on that, we cannot repeat the past, but we can do observations, and that was alive, but now it's gone, dead. And so at least we need to understand the technique, the two different techniques. I think that today that we're gonna keep it that way. And the example is what is this? Something, no?
Paris.
Paris, what? Eiffel Tower, I think.
Apple? Yeah.
Yeah. So in the present, you can see this is the typical profile, and is 1,063 feet. And you try to understand, okay, is that so tall? And what you do? You go and you measure them and say, oh, this is the tallest building in Paris, even today, after more than 100 years that was built. So that is observational science. And that is something that we can do today. But if we go and we see, okay, who designed it? Some people say that was a guy called Gustav, okay? Or was built in the 19th century, 18 something, and was the entrance to the World Fair that year in Paris. So to understand that is in the past. To understand if that is true, because we are looking for the truth, okay? We need to go beyond the observational science. And we need to go to now historical documents or certification. This means some kind of seal. Oh yeah, we have from old letter from 1850 that the governor signed and went into the papers. And then you say, okay, now you are getting the same situation about the origin of the earth. The origin of the earth, you cannot do it with observational science. You need to do it with historical science. Okay? And the earth is here today. Hey, we agree on that. At least we are in this planet now. And now, if we like to understand the origins, we need to go over a lot of documents. What evidence do we have of that? And the question was anybody to observe it? And the answer is nobody that is alive. Okay? So the only answer is God was there based on the Bible. It says God was there, and He inspired people to put in writing the observations. No human being was there before the humans were created. So He gave the information in the Bible to Moses in order to put it in writing. So we have in the beginnings, in Genesis, the information that comes from the Bible and is giving us the point of view of God that most of us, at least, believe that is trustworthy. So the Bible accurately records historical events, and is the one that we can use. It's a revelation because you have witnesses that came from that was revealing information from the Creator. And we're going to keep it here today. We'll continue here next week. And we're going to go over different arguments that we see in the two different points of view. But right now, the important thing is you use the current tools, your current observation is you will be ready for the people that God brings around you to give you a tool to be a witness, to defend, put an apology, do apologetics about or defense about the Bible and the Word of God. Okay? Amen. Thank you, Lord. We'll continue next week.